is supporting Ukraine in the way that it can at this moment. And if we're talking about economical support, the amount of money that Japan provided to Ukraine is quite a large amount. But the problem is why Japan is supporting Ukraine. Well, in Japanese political class and academical class, academical circles, there are some three, I think, three magical words that in which Japan understands the international politics and international relations. It is the first is international law, and one more is United Nations chapter of the United Nations, and third one is status quo. And these three magical words is the base on what Japanese politics or academic people, scientists understands international relations. So Japan is supporting Ukraine. That support is a wonderful thing, and as Ukrainian, I very thankful for Japan. But for understanding how Japan will behave in future, we should understand why Japan is supporting Japan at this moment. So, in Japanese point of view, Russia is violated international law and violated United Nations chapter and changed the status quo by the force. And this is the reason why Japan supporting Ukraine. So because these three things are very, very important. It's a Japanese position. Well, at this moment and until this war will over, this position is has no problem. It's completely okay, and if Japan will continue to support Japan according to this logic, it will be no problem. But problem is in future. For example, if there will be some ceasefire or peace treaty between Russia and Ukraine, from Japanese point of view, the problem will over at that point. So there will be no violation of international law, violation of chapter of the United Nations, and changing of the status quo. So no problem. And after that war, Japan can restore their relations with Russia as it was in the era of Prime Minister Abe Shinzo. And I think this is the big problem, because if these three magical words are so great that Japan in any way cannot support this movement, our movement, because because the all people in this room want to change the status quo, and if Japan will continue to behave, build their strategy by this logic, Japan in any way cannot be the ally of this movement. So it's a big problem. Well, very simple thing that at this point, the changing of status quo that Japan will against that, for example, Taiwanese independence, because it is the change of status quo. Well, in Japan, this tendency is very clear, but I think the same thinking are in America and Europe too. Well, not so much as in Japan, but still it's existing. I think that to defeat the dictatorships and to make their threat of the dictatorship over, we should not understand the international law or chapter of the United Nations as some sacred text, some Bible making by some divines or something like that. These texts are written by people, by human in the epoch after World War II. So it cannot solve all the problems we have in our world. So I think that the political and academical classes in liberal democratic states should understand the international law and the problem of the status quo more flexibly. So there is a bad change of status quo, such as aggressions of Russia against Ukraine and other countries, or possible aggression of China against their neighbors. But there could be a good changing of the status quo that will bring this world better and more safer. For example, Taiwan independence, or for example, the independence of the captive nations of Russia. Well, at this moment, when these problems of international law and status quo and United Nations chapter understood is something sacred, something that brought by God to the people. Well, we cannot solve the problem, and even if this war, Russian war against Ukraine, even if it over by the Ukrainian victory, but the liberal democratic states are still will build their strategy on the status quo. The Russia will still the same, and China will still the same. I think that liberal democratic states must, in some way, be the power that don't wish this status quo that we have in nowadays, but the power that can do our world better. And for doing our world better, we should change some things in this world. And of course, when we are talking about the changes, for example, independence of captive nations, it's I understand that it must be a peaceful independence, but we don't know what occurs. So in some way, we should not say that in any way we shouldn't use the force, military force, the first. It can be the situation when the using force with using force the first by the liberal democratic countries can be the less evil to prevent the more tragedy. Concluding, I want to say that to bring, for example, to bring Japan the ally of our movement, to bring Japan the ally of possible new independent states like Buryatia, like Sakha, or like some new state in the Pacific Ocean, in the northern East Eurasia. To bring Japan the ally of these people, we should change some stereotypes about that United Nations chapter or international law are the thing that we should read as the Bible and had no criticism and no flexibility about the text, about the words that has been written 80 years ago and sometimes cannot be applicable for our times. Thank you.